A new pope rises. Pope Luis I takes the helm. The world paused as all eyes turned to Rome. In St. Peter's Square, a quiet anticipation filled the air. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, the kind-hearted archbishop from Manila, was chosen as the 267th pope, now known as Pope Luis I. White smoke poured from the Sistine Chapel's chimney, signaling the news. Church bells rang out, echoing through Rome and beyond. With his warm smile and caring spirit, Pope Luis I stepped onto the balcony, raising his hands to bless the crowd. The square erupted in cheers, hearts swelling with emotion. Pope Luis I's leadership promises hope, togetherness, and love. The world waits eagerly to see what's next. A sacred moment, Pope Luis III embraces his role. History hung heavy in the air at St. Peter's Basilica, a stunning Renaissance gem that stands as a symbol of the Catholic Church's lasting legacy. Cardinals, bishops, and leaders from across the globe gathered to celebrate the official start of Pope Luis I's journey as Pope. Sunlight poured through vibrant stained glass windows, painting the crowd in a rainbow of colors. The sweet scent of incense filled the air, a gentle reminder of the sacred moment. Pope Luis I was given the pallium, a special woolen stole with 6 black crosses, a timeless symbol of the Pope's authority, tying him to centuries of tradition. Then came the fisherman's ring, a powerful emblem of service and leadership, which Pope Luis I accepted with humility. The ceremony's highlight was the moment he was crowned with the papal tiara. As the choir's voices rose in harmony, a wave of awe and respect swept through the crowd. This was more than a ceremony. It was a bridge between the Church's past, present, and future, uniting all in a shared sense of faith and hope. From humble beginnings to Pope. The story of Luis Antonio Tagle. Pope Luis I's story is one of heartfelt humility and deep faith. Born in 1957 in Imus, Philippines, Luis Antonio Tagle grew up in a simple, devout Catholic family. His parents taught him to be kind, serve others, and love God wholeheartedly. Even as a young boy, Luis showed a sharp mind and a strong spiritual side. He shone in school, earning a philosophy degree before joining the seminary. In 1982, he became a priest, known as Father Tagle, whose thoughtful sermons and warm personality touched many hearts. His path led him from serving in local parishes to teaching in academic circles. In 2011, he became the Archbishop of Manila, stepping into the global spotlight. Just a year later, in 2012, he was named a cardinal, cementing his role as a key figure in the Church. Now, as Pope Luis I, the boy from Imus leads the worldwide Catholic Church. His incredible journey inspires millions, showing that faith and kindness can light the way to greatness. Pope Luis I's heartfelt call to the world. When Pope Luis I first appeared on the balcony above St. Peter's Square, his words painted a powerful vision that touched the hearts of millions. At its core, his message was simple yet profound. Live with compassion, humility, and unity. He urged the Church to open its arms to those often overlooked, the poor, the sick, refugees, and prisoners, encouraging Catholics to see Jesus in every struggling face. His vision went beyond the Church, pushing for a fairer, kinder world for everyone. Unity was another key theme. Pope Luis I called for open conversations and healing within the Church, respecting different views while fostering togetherness. He also reached out to people of other faiths and cultures, inviting them to join in building a more united world. In a world craving hope, his words lit a path forward, offering a clear guide for a more loving, just, and connected future. A proud nation, Cheers for Pope Luis XIII. When news broke that Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle was elected Pope, the Philippines burst with joy and pride. From the lively streets of Manila to tiny rural villages, Filipinos celebrated with uncontainable excitement. This was a shining moment, reflecting the deep faith and strength of the Filipino people. Churches across the islands were packed with worshipers singing songs of gratitude and praise. Out in the streets, spontaneous parties sprang up. People danced, sang, and waved Philippine flags alongside Vatican ones, their spirits soaring. For many, Pope Luis I's rise was a heartfelt confirmation of their faith and the Philippines' role in the global church. The nation watched eagerly as his papal inauguration was broadcast live. In Imus, his hometown, streets were decorated with colorful banners and streamers. Special masses honored him, and people shared warm memories of the kind, humble cardinal with the bright smile. The Philippines glowed with pride for their beloved native son. The world welcomes Pope Luis XII. The election of Pope Luis XII sent waves of excitement far beyond the Philippines, sparking joy and hope among leaders, religious figures, and everyday people worldwide. Known for his deep faith, kindness, and sharp mind, he inspired optimism about what his papacy would bring. World leaders sent heartfelt congratulations, many praising his dedication to fairness and his care for the poor. Religious leaders from different faiths warmly embraced the news, applauding his efforts to bring people of all religions together and his vision for unity. Social media lit up with celebration as the news spread. Hashtags like Mention Pope Luis and Saitiu New Era for the Church trended globally, with people sharing their excitement. Catholic communities in Latin America, Europe, and North America joined in the joy, celebrating the new pope. With the world watching closely, Pope Luis I stepped into his role, carrying hopes for a brighter, more connected future. A new chapter, same heart, Pope Luis XII carries forward. The election of Pope Luis XII opened a fresh page for the Catholic Church, while staying true to the groundbreaking path set by Pope Francis. Known for his humility, focus on mercy, and passion for fairness, Pope Francis left a lasting legacy. Pope Luis I, a dear friend and admirer, promised to carry that torch forward. In his first speech to the world, Pope Luis I shared his deep admiration for Pope Francis and his goal to keep building a church that welcomes and loves everyone. His early words and actions showed this promise in action. He's spoken boldly about poverty, inequality, and climate change, and he's continued reaching out to those who feel overlooked. His message of kindness and inclusion strikes a chord with people who felt left out by the Church before. By choosing to honor Pope Francis's legacy, and even keeping Francis in his papal name, Pope Luis I sends a clear signal. He's here to continue the work of creating a more compassionate, open church. Guiding with hope, Pope Luis XIII faces a complex world. As Pope Luis XIII steps into his role, he faces a world full of tough, tangled challenges. From the climate crisis to growing political divides, from economic unfairness to the struggles of refugees and migrants, the problems are big. The Catholic Church, with its global influence and moral voice, has a key part to play in tackling these issues, and Pope Luis I is ready to lead with his compassion, wisdom, and love for open conversation. One major challenge facing Pope Luis I is the growing trend of people drifting away from organized religion, particularly in parts of the world where secularism and individual spirituality are rapidly expanding. In many societies, younger generations are questioning traditional religious structures, seeking personal meaning outside the confines of institutional faith. This trend reflects broader cultural shifts, including a greater emphasis on personal autonomy, scientific inquiry, and diverse spiritual practices. Pope Luis XIII must recognize that traditional methods of outreach, such as formal liturgies, doctrinal teachings, and hierarchical structures, may not resonate with these groups. Instead, he will need to find innovative ways to communicate the Church's message, focusing on authenticity, compassion, and relevance to the modern human experience. Engaging with social media, participating in open dialogue, supporting community initiatives, and emphasizing the Church's role in addressing global issues like climate change, poverty, and injustice could be key strategies in re-establishing a meaningful presence in people's lives. Within the Church itself, Pope Luis I faces significant internal divisions, particularly regarding sexuality, gender identity, and the role of women. These issues have caused considerable tension among clergy and lay people alike, as more progressive voices call for reforms, while traditionalists advocate for maintaining long-standing doctrines. Questions about LGBTQ+ inclusion, the ordination of women, and gender equality in church leadership are no longer marginal debates, but central challenges that demand careful navigation. In this context, Pope Luis I's capacity for deep listening and bridge building becomes crucial. Healing these divides will require more than authoritative declarations. It will necessitate genuine dialogue, a willingness to acknowledge pain and exclusion, and the creation of spaces where diverse perspectives can be heard and respected. His leadership must embody a spirit of pastoral care rather than rigid governance, showing that the Church can hold together tradition and change without abandoning its core values. Ultimately, Pope Luis I's tenure will likely be defined by how well he addresses these dual challenges, reconnecting a skeptical, often indifferent world with the Church's spiritual and moral mission, and fostering unity within an increasingly diverse and at times fractious Catholic community. His success will depend not on imposing solutions from above, but on nurturing a more inclusive, responsive, and compassionate Church that speaks to the realities of today's world while remaining rooted in timeless truths. Even with these challenges, Pope Luis I shines a light of hope and positivity, inspiring the world with his vision for a better, more united future. A bright future with Pope Luis I. The election of Pope Luis I marks a significant and hopeful turning point for the Catholic Church. His rise to the papacy has infused the global Church with a sense of renewal and possibility, largely due to his humble background and profound spiritual depth. His story resonates with millions around the world, symbolizing that leadership in the Church is not reserved for the privileged, but is open to those who embody true faith and service. As the first Asian pope, Pope Luis I brings a fresh and transformative perspective, offering a voice from a region where Catholicism continues to grow vibrantly, yet faces complex social and cultural challenges. Pope Luis I's commitment to open dialogue and unity is particularly meaningful in a time when the world, and indeed the Church itself, often feels fractured by political, ideological, and cultural divides. His leadership style emphasizes listening, compassion, and collaboration rather than authority and rigidity. He embodies a hope that the Church can be a true global family, respecting different traditions and experiences while remaining anchored in shared values. His courageous yet gentle approach inspires many who seek a Church that is both faithful to its teachings and responsive to the realities of modern life. Building on the foundations laid by Pope Francis, Pope Luis I is not simply repeating the past, he is carving his own path. His wisdom, humility, and kindness illuminate a vision for a Church that is more inclusive, more attentive to the needs of the marginalized, and more willing to engage with the pressing issues of our time. Under his guidance, many believe that the Catholic Church has the opportunity to rejuvenate its mission, deepen its spiritual vitality, and offer a powerful witness of hope and love in an often divided and uncertain world. Pope Luis I inspires the Church to embrace hope, bravery, and love. He calls on everyone to care for each other and work toward a fairer world. His leadership promises a brighter, more connected future for all. For more inspiring stories and engaging content, subscribe to our channel. God Always.